It has been said, my name is Steve Harvey, Botswana Film Association chairman. The is to welcome you to this event. But in my welcome remarks, I just wanted maybe to give a brief situational analysis of how we find ourselves here. There have been some, I don't want to say disturbing, but a paper that has been circulated all along, just recently, positioning, stating the status of the industry. And we have learned from that paper that it does not represent who we are. And I want to categorically make it clear that that paper was written by a group of people calling themselves from the creative sector. We are not the creative sector. We are television and film people. That's what we do. And then if you are going to, we have to get this thing very, very, very straight. That's why we want to distance ourselves from that particular paper, because it is the paper that have contributed or exacerbated the mess that we find ourselves in, because it also states that we do not have skills, and that's not who we are. We have met with Botswana Television, and then we have also met with Botswana Ignite, and from that meeting, we resolved that we are going to go into realignment. But after that meeting of realignment, we met with the industry, and the industry was very clear that no, we are not going to realign anything. We want everything to stop and then find way forward. That is the position of the industry. And I don't want to say a lot, because I think the speakers here, Mr. Mohomuti and Carol Gosedile, they have more to say. I just wanted to clear this one out, because I know there is that paper that is going around, and it does not put, it makes us look like we are crying for something, and then yet we are the same people who are saying we are not empowered. So thank you very much, Carol.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I want to take this opportunity first, taking from our chairperson, to thank you for coming. I know there is a press conference somewhere. We are all happy about the new president, Advocate Boko. So we were a bit scared that we will have an empty room. I think for the first time in a very, very long time, or ever since I was born, or maybe for the first time in regards to why we are here, which is the project titled Botswana Ignite, we were called by Botswana Television and Botswana Ignite, I think it was about a week ago, to come and sit with them so that they could give us an update on the project. Number one, it was a surprise, because associations have never been called to be really updated or engaged. And we did honor that meeting. And I think we must be very, very grateful that we find ourselves in a time of where people are free, because every time we had wanted to sit around the table, to not be dictated to, but to be allowed to speak, was never there. I think it was in 2019 when we heard about the news of Steve Harvey Global coming to ignite our industry. A lot of us questioned, and a lot of us were for the project. I think because being a country like ours and being an emerging industry like ours, anything is possible and anything can be agreed to or disagreed. We then were told that the project was a presidential initiative. We have tried to ask questions in the past, and whether we like it or not, we are not afraid to say we were not allowed to ask questions. This project, the government is injecting over $500 million for 3 years. And yet the model on how, especially Botswana Television, as the biggest broadcaster in the country, acquires content from us through tendering, through limited budgets, through cancelled tenderings. We found ourselves in a situation where we are nothing but beggars in our industry, and we are here to say we are not in agreement. We do understand that in 2021, when the Botswana Ignite project was still ongoing or planned for, a position paper was submitted to government by then. A position paper that is in the hands of Botswana Television and Office of the President. We must also clarify that as the industry, since I think it was Monday, it is the first time we lay our hands on that position paper. And we want to be very, very clear. Ladies and gentlemen, if you think that our industry, we do not have skilled personnel, I am not afraid to even say people who have been making decisions about our industry also do not have skilled personnel, because we find ourselves in this situation. We have had Maramotwe coming into the country. People were trained on the job. We have had United Kingdom. That one personally I can tell you, because it was there, it was nothing but racism. I'm not afraid. And when now we have Botswana Ignite, it's like it is the first time. They are repeating models. It's like when Standard 1, 1 + 1, 1, 1 + 1, 2. Yet they fail to acknowledge what has happened before, so that they can pick up from it. The Botswana, that position paper, after reading it, we also strongly believe that it has also contributed, and it continues to contribute to our state in the film and television industry. We had given up and said, at least we have got Now Channel. Even though Now Channel was forcefully taken to become BTV2, or is it 1? 2, so that whatever Botswana Ignite will be doing will be also getting in there. But now it just repeats news or old things. Then our beautiful ministry, as it was known, today is beautiful, MySec, which is now it's called the Ministry of Sports and Arts, decided that because they've taken the television, they do have an option of going online. They prepared themselves and had an online television. All of a sudden, there is no money in Botswana. People are told to stop flying. We can't even get sponsors to go to critical filmmaking residential labs around the world. We are subjected to Botswana Ignite teachings. That for me are ABDA models. I've done ABDA, I don't need ABDA again. We then find ourselves in a situation now, money is being taken from one ministry that we had banked our lives in. One channel, the tender has been cancelled. We are told as a nation that there is no money, but yet a project that holds $500 million, over $500 million, is still running. How can we explain that, ladies and gentlemen? Everything should have been stopped the same way our lives had been stopped. It is not right to get other students from South Africa to come and be a crew here, while we have got graduates in our country who are skilled, who could have filled up. Our only problem as an industry that we have always said to government is that we need money pumped into our industry. Yet money continues to go out. I think if you're listening to Mr. Mandla in the morning, he also mentioned about the studios. You run renovation. Oh, they're renovating. After the renovation, you say the studios are good. After 2 minutes, the studios are not good. And then you take Botswana taxpayers' money and you go and spend it in South Africa. Has South Africa television industry ever taken South African taxpayers' money for it to be spent in our country? It hasn't. So because we find ourselves in a situation where we are very, very confused. You cannot say that we are not skilled. You have no right to say that you are not skilled. And if you're looking at the productions on Botswana television, I am not afraid to say those productions represent Botswana television's quality, not our quality, in terms of on how they procure content. When you procure content in Botswana, it's the same way when you procure toilet paper and water. The tender goes to the lowest bidder. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not even afraid to tell you already. I've refused in the past to negotiate with my favorite channel, Now Channel, in terms of a tender, because I know my worth and I know the worth of my productions, and many people have done that in Botswana. So I'll give it to Rem Mandla hore le ene re leke go tlhalosa gore sentle ra re ha kae.
Okay, thank you. Dumela. Dumela. Ke bile go te Mandla mo go motse. Ke ta ganela thata go Setswaneng. Ka gore ke ganela thata go Setswaneng ka gore o ka ra lebala sega re le Batswana. And if no one sells Setswana sa rona kana skala ka sa rona, ke mang go se rekisa? You get this project ya Steve Harvey tota re hano ka yone ka mabaka a ntseng jana. Project e craftilwe ko o re sa itse gore craftilwe ko go rileng le gone ke mang a utile go tweng ke bo mang ha isna go craftilwa ko ebe tla entse ya lo ile pope e ta go go rona ebe re toa go tesolo kise. It's either you are in or out because the train is moving. That is the situation that we found ourselves in as the industry. And se ne se go tswala mo mo go hitisa ine ile gore if you were to question it, no toa go this is a president initiative. Motho a hella go no kana ba rela gore a o nyatsa tauto a ri a loka ha ba to go helletsa re wena o ta conclude ka bo wena. So because the industry is hungry, I want to say was young, but Modimo had no choice but instead to go in. Kana ke dimela ke re la ha o tshonne hela tota batho ba Modimo ha o ta o hiwa 20 pula zilo tshone no gono filo re motho o hile madi a mantsi because there was nothing in the industry. So hari bua re le ha re batla gore ra re ga gona Batswana ba ba leng part of Ignite. They are there, but I would say in wrong places and possibly being rewarded kamatsana. So this project haitiswa go rona entse. We had no choice. Yari di dimala project e be tswele disiyo kante modimo ene o teng kwa rona rote. The time will come. And indeed that time came, and all of us here should be, and we took part on that time when that time came. We changed power, and I'm very proud. Not that I belong to any party, but because finally as Botswana, we have shown politicians that we are in charge. And this is our tax money, and this is our money. The same respect that they need from us is the same respect that they need to accord us. There is change of power, there is freedom. From nowhere, we received an invitation from Botswana Ignite. From nowhere. But that was after elections. I'll tell it that way. We received an invitation. And that invitation was saying, let's come and engage. But all along, we were being addressed. Why are we engaging now? What happened? This project, and to some who can now the president. Maybe we are the only leverage that is left that is going to say, if this project is to survive going forward, industry industry haya sala project ya Steve Harvey morago ne ba idira ba le ko ba le nosi ha ile gore ba batla go tswella go idira ba tswella ba le ko ba idire as they were doing it, not with us, not with our backing. They did that on their own, which is why there is a narrative that has been thrown around that says we don't have skills locally. That narrative is alive, and it has been communicated. Is it Forge? Is it Ignite Botswana? Is it Global? Oh, it has been communicated like that. So those people, when they came to Botswana, never do you live with animals? Never that is why the design of those programs were meant for now. What about professionals? Those that have been in industry for long. So that narrative has brought us here. Narrative ya already dumela gore motho wa ile gore ke ena re lomaganyeng le Forge ke Botswana television wa ile gore ke ene a reze mbatho a re tlankwano bona ga gona sepe lo tlo simollega mme motho a ba ka botsa gore ha o re ga gona quality mo Botswana. You are judging us based on what? You are judging us as an industry based on what? Because I don't remember any production here locally funded to 10 to 20 million. I don't. Me production production half a billion. What informed them that now when people come from outside, whenever talk about budget, they relay. But highly rona hare talk budget daily. Price. How produce a 13 episode locally? They will buy your project at 700 or 600,000. Okay, 680. That's how much they would buy. And we are told that as they are shooting project there when they are live on air, 6 or 8 episodes, we are looking at around 30 million. What informed that? For how to shoot at any rona so that we will judge our produce quality. But Film and television, the quality depends on the funds availed. It's not a very cheap industry. It needs funds. For you to get a proper production, we're talking about the fund. It's a deal. There is a reason for whatever the Bansa Kanya Steve have a Bansa Madiakana for the 550 million. Never put it a man, Babone guy, Ilisos, Diramo Hope. Go to this issue, it raises a lot of questions that you ask yourself. I'm never hear industry, never hear Rona, and we are here today. Let's now go on industry. Let's now go on Forge, BTV. I came to get a tango, get bottle of the deal, Magamon Segal, so look out. Roy Mingo, Lamon. Mingo is part of the team here, Forge. I get part of the team here, Forge. I care globally, Steve globally, can keep Botswana Ignite. He's part of it. So, Ray Harari. Leading tiro tse leng gore hanere buare. How similar Sorosarona engage us so that we go bonse ka gore we are expert at this also. Gore re tlhokana le eng as an industry, not wena prescribing for us. That means leading tiro tse di go tase tse tshwanetse ke be di dirwa ke Batswana. I know re director ra gona le di UP, go ne le di assistant tse lo dia ba shadow. So that hana go intsetsa ma ba helle ba take over. I'm afraid that is not the case. At this particular junction, there are projects that are being shot. You might have the video of the lion. You might have the video of the hunter. You hunted. You might have the Yano, Mwaki, who said the Kanyako Nigeria was always Alabata Tower of the Rebuku Lebaton. Kurabuku skilling. Rabara Nabu Kua lady story Zaruna. The story has a story can Britain is a liar. That we don't even know. Is there anyone here who knows a story of the liar? Who has ever watched it? Except that gentleman there. But still the mono had the don't we have our own stories? How can level the way this thing was positioned without us? It sums up to one thing. Nelitsi. Yanu, ke had today when you get industry. Industry we convened Pomola. The industry said to us, go ahead and tell these people that this project must stop. Because if it's for us, without us, then that is why we are here. Zakuri, then what next would be discussed. Mihela, as of now, the industry says the project has to stop. Me really Kana project I give seem like 3 years. Yes, it's easy more roads. And I don't want to talk away. Again, yeah. Maybe in a whole talk about it. When we talk along a whole well, like a mabaka. Not honest and calculate the revenue or revalue the revenue, because whether the project stops or goes ahead. Botswana industry. We need to know what I did. How can man? If you look at the book, what is the way forward? So the Rumuru Ponzea Kanyaruna Pagela Nerilico radio still saying the same message. And I would like to say also to people to say, but we only have Botswana. Most of us in Botswana, we don't have any other country that we can go to. And if we don't stand up for what is right for this country, people are going to come in and do as they're doing now. So it's upon each and every person who is a citizen of this country, in your local corners, to stand up and do something, wherever you are, so that we can bring this country, this industry, to its rightful owners. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mohomuti. I don't know if before I throw back to the media team. Okay, good. All right. Any questions to the presentation that has been made by the two speakers, or rather the three speakers? You'll show by a raise of your hand, and you say your name, who you represent, and then you ask the question. My brother, Umara.
Thank you. My name is
Oh, can you please raise your voice a bit?
My name is Oji Malifel. I'm just a passionate person when it comes to films. And, I love films, and I do a bit of story writing here. My question is to the panel. Have you engaged now Office of the President, which this department falls under? Television and broadcasting. Have you engaged them now on this matter? And if you have, what is their take on this whole saga?
Thank you.
And are they willing to respond?
Thank you so much. There was another hand somewhere.
That's fine.
It's covered. Okay. Do you have any other question, my sister?
Yes, my name is Pula from Botswana Information Services. My question is, the letter from Botswana Television, what exactly did they say? The role they wanted you to play?
The letter from?
From Botswana Television to the film industry.
The invitation.
The invitation. The invitation.
Okay.
And do you know how many Botswana are engaged on Botswana Ignite?
All right. Thank you. All right. Okay, Godson.
My name is Bogatsu. So, I'll just what I'm asking is, what's the way forward from here? What do we expect to achieve from media right now? This whole because I believe as much as this is moving trade, how many media are your next still moving? Until the next thing you know, all the money is gone, right? And so I'm just wondering to what benefit after this whole.
Okay, thank you. Panel for answers, please.
I believe that the first question was because Botswana Television falls under Office of the President. If we have gone there, what we wanted to do firstly is that we follow hierarchy. Sometimes when you rush to the highest office without even having engaged Batubalona and the people concerned, you can be told to go back. BTV called us while we were planning to call them. We have engaged with them. They understand what we say. Our language was not wrong, it was correct. We want an evaluation report, and we are going to the industry. And we do not want this. It was not designed for us. We went to the industry, those that came. Rosa Khan. And the industry was very, very vocal to a point where later that evening, messages were coming. Maybe we should do it. We said, no, it is not in our culture, but if it need be, maybe one day, not now. Because we believe that we've got the right to sit and talk. Our industry was very, very clear. And they said, go for a press conference to inform whoever in the nation where you are. And then from there, we are going to be submitting a paper at Office of the President titled A Critical Analysis of Botswana Ignite Project and its impact on the local film and television industry, how politically motivated projects can destroy an emerging industry, a case of racism by design. We are not here to play. We have been silenced for a very, very long time. And this thing, I think, even our new president has made it very, very clear. To Badila Lokusu. This talk of when you want to know something, hey, HE this, HE that, it needs to stop. A civil servant, you need to serve. And I'm still going to repeat myself like I did. Mr. Steve was there. If you are a civil servant, put in a position to serve us. If you feel that you can't, or we can't, please also know that you can't. Can you just kindly remove yourself? Because it is mindsets like yourselves that continue to rob emerging industries. We've been talking about issues of film and television for a very, very long time. We shouldn't be here at this time. The second question?
The numbers of Botswana Ignite is 60% South Africans and 40% Botswana that are involved in the liar production.
And I was asking.
This excludes students. Yes.
So the invitation wanted you to what is it?
No.
The invitation, sorry ma'am, wanted to inform us of their plans for Botswana Ignite Project 2025, while we haven't even evaluated if our taxpayers' money, which was meant for the film and television industry, was used accordingly. It was just to inform us. By the way, because there's this new government, so that you can follow us. This is where we are going, but we never knew where they were going. So honestly, whether we want to believe it or not, or we do not want to admit it or not, it is nothing. I'm sorry. Because you are from BTV. A stunt. Because even last year, as the industry, when we invited BTV to one of our projects with our new Ministry of Sports and Arts, BTV did not show up, which means that they are not for our industry. Yet today they come running with cameras, which is a very, very good thing, because freedom of speech, human rights, and all that, we're in a very, very beautiful era. I think we are all in agreement. So according to Ramanda, the statement was very, very clear from us. It needs to stop.
I get say. God say, I get. Have you engaged the Office of President? Our representative. No, to that way forward, the reason why after that meeting, the Botswana Ignite BTV, as an industry, high leadership industry, Remy says reposition as industry leader so that information and then go do it so that it favors us. That is one thing we must stop as the industry. We have a problem of positioning ourselves so that benefits come to us. And this is the reason why we are here, part of it. That we would group ourselves, go somewhere, do something that favors us, and then say, this is the industry. So moving forward, we should be able to consult the industry. How does now be due? Botswana Ignite BTV. Because we call the industry, but hard do. And I'm afraid not a lot of numbers came. to that meeting. We had around 70 people when we were in the meeting. We were a go ahead. Rona project the same as our project. So, says the one young radio. Highlights radio, call a press conference, inform the nation our stand about this project. Then after that, take this posting paper to OP so that they act on it as of yesterday, because it's urgent. That's all we're going to do. Because now go if that was possible. So that reads over it. I am. But that is where we are going. Thank you.
It is to our understanding that they are paid per one heads up project again. What's an invoice? Maybe at the meeting that we had with the Botswana television, what was even surprising more than anything was that, I'm not afraid to say this because he said it to us and even to Botswana Ignite, the general manager, Retuto, Joel Tuto, he mentioned to them that I am the general manager and this is the first time I have been invited, I'm quoting, to a Botswana Ignite meeting. The person who is responsible for the television station, who it is said that that project is to create content given to him so that he could put on the platform. In BTV, project le Botswana Ignite. I think that is a very, very on Facebook red flag. So, I think I had a little thing. I guess
Yeah, there's a few more questions that I saw. My brother here. Is there any other hand?
Not here.
Oh, okay. Oh, all right.
I guess, can I yes. Now, I don't think this is surprising. I don't see it very surprising because right from the onset.
Just before you go further, I know you must have been for the sake of the room. Just give your name and your surname and let everybody know who's talking.
Yeah, who's talking is who's talking. Thank you so much. Look, I don't think this should be a surprise, guys. Because I've said it even when I heard the news about Steve Harvey. I even spoke to the peers then, only the pair, not Japan. Why are you bringing Steve Harvey here when we have people who have colossal, more experience in what they are doing in terms of television? And the answer was that man that was saying, but don't have no experience. And I said to parents, you don't sound like a PS. You don't sound like a PS because to me, that's an insult of the last number. So that's why this is not surprising because it was in 2019. We all knew about the $500 million will be going there. We never stood up, but I hear your thing because I understand that. The television industry, recently, this is not something a surprise because how available we have feedback. You see, or even they will see by what of you. They will give you $1 million or shoot an episode. When you tell them, look, you shooting a movie or shooting a drama needs money. For example, when you're talking about my star, You know, I gave them example. You know, 13 episodes, you need 14 million rands, 18, to shoot idols. But you will need 300 to 500 to shoot one star, if you might get it. But Rona, we can't get that. But this is the insult that I'm talking about. I'm not also surprised that Jewel was saying that, because some other things were done under the table. You see, we are asked to shoot in 4K, and yet what is being broadcasted is standard. So you can tell. I mean, the gentleman here, I remember when Steve Harvey was at the mass media, I met him. I didn't talk to him. But I was one of the first people who he found me there. We have the best equipment in the world, the most. Now you ask yourself, if we have the best equipment in the world, how come we're spending more money outside than investing more money in these people here? It's very, very surprising, to say the least. But you see, but I know the reason why you were called, you guys, tables are turning. Now, tables are turning, and they're going to turn. Most of the people, don't be surprised to see a lot of people being kicked out of the offices, because if you go to my search, you know, go and get on Now TV, you ask yourself how many tenders have been cancelled. We spend money. How many hard drives do we have? Go my search. How many? For how much? And tenders are being cancelled every time and again. ETV being one of them. Tenders have been cancelled time and again. They say there's no money. But there's money when it comes to Steve Harvey. I'm happy that we're here. Rona will run behind you. We'll be there. I mean, anytime. Now I don't know. You don't hear me most of the time. But I had to come here to see what happened. If anything you know about it, we're not talking about more. We're not talking more than Asians.
Thank you so much for the comment, Abuti. Yeah,
good morning. My name is Queen from the August Online. I have two questions. The first one being, you're talking about a project that is in its first, if not the second year, I think. First year. About to finish? Yes. Yeah, unless maybe I've not been into the season or not. Why the silence? What kept you quiet? I mean, looking at how angry you are now, coming, the passion that comes out of you. Why have you been quiet about this? You know. And then number two, you've been talking about. I think this. You spoke of racism for the second time. By design. If you could maybe take us through that racism that you're referring to. Yeah, just so that we also bring our listeners to context. Okay. Yeah, thank you.
I think we've said it before. Whether we don't want to, one thing about us, Botswana, is that we like admitting things to ourselves in private, in our hearts, and then when we have to admit things vocally, we are afraid, because we've always been afraid to blokiwa, that we will not get this job done. Ladies and gentlemen, we could not speak. We have tried to speak, whether in offices, whether where. There was a joke a week ago. We had a meeting. Hey, Remanda said something and people laughed, but it was a serious thing. He said, usually Carol, when she's invited, she's never given the mic to speak because she asks hard questions. Now it has come to a point where they no longer invite her, which honestly, because I like staying alone. Now, racism by design, ladies and gentlemen, it's when it is decided that it is only a certain group of people that should benefit for something that should maybe benefit the majority. You come into our industry, you give out these roles and you are happy. We have a Botswana who is a third wardrobe assistant. And I was trained as a wardrobe assistant when I started. It was in 2022. And we're still wanting to train a person who's a lecturer, who has been involved in, whether short or feature is still a film, that has gone to notable film festivals around the world as a trainee in his own country. You project and say, we have got people, writers, happy trainees. I see the writer trainees that you have put up there. There are people that have gone to international platforms to pitch because of the concepts that they've written. Authentic, beautiful Botswana stories that can be relevant in the international community. And you want us to clap hands because they are trainees. When they compete with Africa and other nations and other platforms like Bodeb and Filmat there, and get number one, you still choose to put a limitation clause to them that they are trainees in their own country and their own industry. People who have gone for competitions to Netflix ended up in more top 7 in Africa, and they still deserve to be trainees. A lot of them. Guys, we should open our eyes and we should speak.
All right, Mr. Ernest Saposim will talk to the issue of silence in the industry. Why are we starting? Oh, it's Mr. Aburun. He'll take us through why the silence now suddenly there is an outcry. Young one knows
I'll just focus on the silence issue that my sister asked. We haven't been silent, to be honest. We have engaged before Office of the President, I think 3 times, if I'm not mistaken. The PS and the deputy PS. Do you know that? The one who was left. Yes, pushing the here. With PTV represented, Zika, project manager, we have been speaking about it, raising red flags, because remember, we are practitioners, we are on the ground, and we hear what our fellow practitioners are saying. And every time when they say something, they point fingers at the leadership. So we have been speaking, and every time when we leave Martin Vickens' office, is that we'll fix things, we'll come back to you. So it's been an ongoing engagement. Like my sister Carol was saying, you speak to people, but they'll block you or put a red tape on you to say, this one talks too much. But we are not talking too much. We are representatives of masses, film practitioners, not creatives, film practitioners. From being a security guard to Masape to an extras to producer director. We're talking about a large pool of people. But the answer is simple. We have been engaging also through the Oshinga Tiani, Zika being present. And this issue does not start today. I'm happy that even Steven, maybe they didn't say his name, from Botswana Ignite, I personally and the chairman here, we have engaged him because we felt we have been left behind as the industry to really understand what is happening and to even explain to him that, listen, we have people who qualify to work in this project that we're coming up with, who have been in the industry for more than 30 years. So if the industry has been surviving for more than 20 years, and you are told, Corey, there are no practitioners in this country, come on. Those who are in power, that is why now we are coming out to say, guys, enough is enough. This is an industry that is surviving. I mean, we are just towards the elections. Our former president was all over. You know those videos, even though a company which was engaged was from South Africa, but most of the crew, part of the crew was from Botswana. But why now Botswana Ignite has ignored us from 2019? Those are the questions that we need to really ask ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you, Ngo. Okay. Yeah, I'll get it to you. All right.
I'm a private practitioner. I'm not part of these guys, and I'm not part of Ignite either, or BTV. I represent the industry, and I was called by the Boss Association. None of them is here.
No, he's there.
Oh, it's both sides. Ignite from where it came from. Some of us, we never agreed with it. We told them plain out, we're not afraid to speak out. We've been around. But this is where we are now. Ignite, Steve Harvey, Mutuzi project. Empower the locals. So that they help them create their own stories so that they put on TV. Once I attended TV, you know, it was in line with this. Those were 3 projects. Then never well on or around that project so that we can run them for 3 to 5 years. But then immediately about 3 again. Of which none of the local projects at the moment has been commissioned to anybody. I get unnecessarily awarded to any companies. No companies are there were 3 projects. The middle X, I see the small, I see the nail of us to already run it. I want to make a better than what I want to deliver and get it a project there. I have benefit about one. Maybe aspiring filmmakers. It's all like Calvin. But there are strategy, of which maybe some of them are industry and getting. But Nagani want to get them, but don't care about what's in the opinion or rare or from Ignite or Comangai. Most of them go to our active industry members. So never go feel any pal or what to project the Racing. Project the higher lope sepe how I like it only illiterate, but higher lope sepe. Salary rexed before the proposition in stage. One an Leoreano, some sort of rexed you know, like Leoreano. Got to position gets the ads and our rexism of people happy or on next level. Again, family feud, the night lacing like Steve Harvey, what is your family feud? All of you, what is your they can never get your Kamadiakana. One way I believe my over each other. Can the family feud in the announce you before family meeting last week? What did I say? Some cafe guru, it's only one in memory. You want to call BTV, daily news here, like I want to media. But you want hardly be. Not as a liar, do go meeting on Gomusha, rarely industry in Indiana. Can I go near Pula? Ruderio Zeluma, Banehela recently. If you talk the details about what's on a little locals. Malawana meeting one air more Munyaka. Was only an ACB. But don't be giving about the hour where like I don't worry. To ignite the by align Leon, you want to have a talent. In other words, I want to look at content that will be acquired in the next maybe 3 to 5 years. I saw align the Ignite. Because whenever I talk a lot of ways, over show or what trainings or whatever they are doing, you go to Mount Mr. Ziga, not the one. But where is our worry? In the near future, we'll go a rental shop. I literally will be BT, can I Ignite, they can imagine no. No, to have rental shop with the cameras already way. As if like we are foolish, you don't have those cameras or you can't afford them. How about a camera ready? We have a BTV content. Because I can do Air 1080 standard HD. So,
Yes.
maybe I'm going to we are Maria
Standard.
So, the cancer DMA and Abacon Rehamo industry really. I can not meet the last week. Project they have benefited Botswana. So, to that, Hare Kaseke. Some of us we have never. Now I did see Botswana Ignite. It's my first time to see Mr. Steve. I've never been to Ignite meetings. But for the master class, I was already accredited logo BQA. I gave certificate in Nelamatu. But also making. I was a degree. I get diploma. Can I gain for 1 day session? You go on the cancer in this beauty. Say no more. I never can not tell her the Bua. Is that the Kazia Buega? But Nanager there, as the industry clearly Rabuale, the Mokokibarna, Harabat project, the ice cream part of it, Baba, you like a benefit. Lander can a part of it. Robar BTV, well, Amaravana, it's a Katsikero. Who's the channel and show the Tata you are local content? It is a DBS roadshow, Helamuti. Nagana BTV copy. It has to be roadshow BTV, and then a few of the programs that is from the last tender. Yeah, it's an Amudi, I must do some marker. Oh, when I say after maybe a few weeks, because of what I want to do in my car. BTV, high school acquire content, they have a property. So, it last 2019, right? It got it almost to not fight. Sound again. So, it like 2019, but it's a mobile. A lot of like you attend during the COVID era. Again, after a certain member of parliament from Kenya, BTV must be given 100 million every year so that it can secure some content. Again. So our home will go to some abusive or our content there, so that's how we ended up here. Social media and our blacklist. I say it depends on what in my life, so it doesn't mean anything. Janu, Rehaga about the project as TV. I don't write to it, it's a cabo naked. By Toretamaya, Nerelets or BTV. You will have a similar secure local content. What's a moment the project? At least they are not idea pricing. Or 8 episodes can actually cost 30 million. So, but well, I'm going to 500,000. For more than 3 to 5 million, Mr. Master Diazabu okay. At least the travel projects are not to an extent. The projects are now this year. I don't want to let you. We should look at the latest Black Magic Studio 2 years ago, 1 year ago. We are still shooting with those cameras. Our quality is good. It's only that we are not willing to give them our quality at their price. So, Joseph, you want to go BTV, you'll never hang out in camera like your camera. Joseph, you get a lowest bidder. First year, but PG logo BTV, batch at 250 per hour, kind of whatever. BTV takes that content and they play it. So it's not a representation of local film industry or television industry. It was they represent the lowest bidder whatever they are buying, and we've got nothing to do with it.
Thank you.
Like I know we are some more creative industry, we are a film and television industry. So I think how do I go minister? I want to call the film under his departments. Or president, it doesn't matter who's in the office. If I assume the file is illegal, and they have to answer to them. That's how it is.
Thank you, leadership. Yeah, you first.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. I wanted to just, my name is Tondora Tsara. I chair the Creative Arts and Media Center of Business in Botswana. I just wanted to, first of all, thank you for the press conference. I just wanted to applaud and congratulate you for the step. I wanted to just lend some context and color to the position paper from 2021. And it's important because that paper was authored by, it's available, it's public knowledge, by multiple associations under the auspices of Business Botswana because we were seen to be neutral. And it had 13 sections, one section on limited skills. That limited skills section was the output or the creation or the narration of the Botswana Screen Society leadership at the time. You need to take people.
Sorry, sir.
Yes.
Sorry, sir. Can you repeat that again?
Yes.
Yes,
It was the output of the Botswana Screen Society leadership at the time. 80% of people who were involved in the process were vehemently against the Steve Harvey thing, to the point of anger. But as you rightfully said, I'm sure you remember the prayer at the stadium, the lovely prayer at the stadium the other day. May the hopes and dreams of the people that have been buried arise.
Yeah.
We all know what we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
There was someone who even said, no one in Botswana has achieved anything. That was the PSP, who is still the PSP. No one in Botswana has achieved anything, right? So let's not forget the climate we were in. It was October 2021 when we came together. And a decision was made that, listen, this government has a mandate from the election year 2019. They are here for 5 years. Let's work with them. If they insist that they are bringing Steve Harvey, if they insist, this is maybe how value can be added. That is how the position paper came about. But even as the author, I was against the Steve Harvey thing from the beginning. But you go with the voice of the collective. So, in as much as President Duma Boko is dealing with problems from his predecessor, he does not disabuse himself from those problems. They are Botswana problems. And it is a bit unfair of Botswana Screen Society and Bofia to want to wash their hands of what their former leadership endorsed. In fact, let me correct, Bofia was vehemently against this as well. Bofia did not want Steve Harvey, and they have never erred from that stance. The problem was Screen Society. But to that end, there was only one of 13 sections that spoke to skills. So you need to look at that holistically. So I would just want to give that color and that context that there was challenges in this industry. And as Mr. Siako Singh just pointed out, people came to the realization that there's potentially resources here. And then they came up with the Steve Harvey thing. And it was by design that the narrative was there are no skills in Botswana. Starting from the leadership of OPSP saying no one in Botswana has achieved anything. Right? It was by design. Because how would you now justify bringing people in?
Yeah.
The show that was supposed to be shot here is being shot in South Africa. How do you justify that? But if you trace this thing back to where it started, I think it was during COVID in 2020, when I think there was a lockdown coming. And in that context of a lockdown, the good news was we're investing 56 million in BTV studios. Shortly after, a certain gentleman by the name of Steve Harvey had gone to BTV studios. 56 million of taxpayer money was used to renovate BTV studios. At the opening, the man declares that the studios are substandard and not fit for purpose. 56 million gone.
Yeah. Just like that.
Right? And that has been the story of this
Industry.
project. And it has vacuumed all the resources out of the industry. To the point where you cannot get work, you cannot do anything unless you align to the Steve Harvey standards. But they're not even playing out on 4K. They're not even playing out clear on television. They can't do a replay of a goal scored in a match. But they say to Botswana, come with an entire season, pre-produced at your own expense. You might win a tender. And then, as Mr. Siako Singh said, then they give it to the lowest bidder. Did Steve Harvey have to produce a pilot of Family Feud Botswana at his own expense? Did Liar have to produce a pilot of Liar at their own expense? So I just want to stand up to exercise my right of reply and to just clarify a few issues. The limited skills piece was from Botswana Screen Society at the time. But we recognized the climate we were in, the political climate we were in, and said, are we going to put the industry on hold for 5 years? Or are we going to work with the government that we elected, that is the government, and try and work with them for the benefit of all? And exactly as you said, that was October 2021, as the document states, only to receive an invitation from the gentleman behind me 2 weeks ago to say come for an update. 3 years later, 1 week after an election, you can then make up what that means for yourself.
Amen.
Thank you so much. I think we are running out of time. We just need to close, guys. We've been booked here for until what? Unfortunately, I think the last meeting at Molapo Crossing, I had themed it that the industry should come together and cry. We did cry at Molapo Crossing. Here we just want to give to the news the fourth estate so that they distribute to the rest of the population. But please, we are running out of time. Let me just give to Mandla Mokomuti, and then Carol will wrap it up, and then we'll be done for today.
Thank you again, MC. Thank you. Mr. Zara, I saw a but I simula. Kiri. One of the industry. We have a problem. Rural industry, we are part of this problem. Can we please stop positioning ourselves and look at our interest? Because this is what is bringing us to this. Because if this thing comes, I'm going to benefit. So rather the industry suffer. So another problem when you as an industry, let's have one voice. If you know yourself for it, you are such kind of a leader that doesn't have people's interest, please stay away from leadership. Simple as that. If you can't, because you cannot control yourself. So how would say what that position paper? I don't know 2 weeks ago. Can't worry. And I'm going to be honest in this one. That position paper doesn't differ much with what is being happening on ground. It doesn't. Why is it differ? Because it was created by people, even though in any government do say, who had their own interest, not for the industry. That is why today we're coming out clear to say, we are not creatives. We are television and film production, so that we become specific to our topic. And we are here today to say, whoever that was involved in doing that position paper, we still need each other as an industry. But going forward, let's be honest with each other, so that one voice. At one point, we were all over radio stations. No, this. Can't people want to position themselves? But I'm in leadership today. If tomorrow I position myself on thank you. Because listening is an industry. Thank you very much.
I think in conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, Botswana Ignite, I don't have to call it a project or a school, that is giving out a certificate that is not regulated, it's not even accredited according to them, must stop. I want to leave you with these words. They've been in my mind. I was listening to Wyclef Diallo. Have you ever been taken to a dark place where not even scientists can reveal? That is where our film and television industry is. And BTV, who is supposed to be our biggest supporter, today it's very, very sad. Your actions are those like vampires. You're busy sucking our blood. Potlako, ladies and gentlemen, I want to take this opportunity to thank you, to honor this invitation. I know that you could have gone somewhere else. They've got businesses, but we thank you very much from the bottom of our hearts.
So,